Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty big things to go over. Multiple new Pokemon events and updates have been announced. We have a pretty big Pokemon rumor to go over for Generation 10, and then as well as that, a new Nintendo Switch 2 feature has also been revealed. A lot of things to break down today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's quickly go over these new Pokemon events and updates that have been announced. First off, we have something regarding Generation 8. We've got HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, Nintendo Music has added the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield soundtrack. So even more Pokemon music on the Nintendo Music app. And this time it's all about Generation 8. So very, very cool to see because Generation 8 has some absolute bangers. Moving on, we also have an update for Pokemon Sleep. We've got PokeExperto here tweeting out saying Pokemon Sleep version 2.8.0 arrives on May the 15th after a few hours of maintenance. So what is new? So you have Poke Stretch Week and New Moon events. We have the possibility of purchasing items in bulk, and then there's also been some bug fixes as well. So if you're playing Pokemon Sleep, that's a big update coming to you on the 15th of May. And then as well as that, we have an update regarding Pokemon Unite, which is adding some new items into the game. So we've got HDvee here tweeting out saying HDvee update, Pokemon Unite is to add 2 new items on May the 22nd, the Amulet Coin and the Choice Scarf. I'm not sure what they do. I assume it's been data mined at this point. But again, I don't really play Pokemon Unite, so I'm not really up to date with all the specific items and what they do. But either way, those are available in-game on the 22nd of May. And those are some of the new Pokemon events and updates that have been announced recently. Moving on, let's take a look at a pretty big new feature revealed for the Nintendo Switch 2 yesterday. We've got a post here from Game Rant saying Nintendo reveals that the Nintendo Switch 2 will have an option that users can activate to help extend the console's battery life and conserve energy. So a very well needed update in my opinion for the Nintendo Switch 2. Very happy that they've gone with this. It's something that you're going to see in like smartphones and stuff, so you're probably used to it anyway, but this is obviously brand new for Nintendo. So they say Nintendo reveals helpful Switch 2 battery feature. So Nintendo revealed a surprising new feature to help extend the battery life of the Nintendo Switch 2 console, as the company will give users the option to stop charging the system once it reaches 90% battery capacity. This option would not only help with Nintendo Switch 2 upkeep in the long term, but also conserve energy even when plugged in. So leading up to the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo has shown off a few nifty tricks that the Nintendo Switch 2 can do out of the box. In a previous video, Nintendo revealed that the Joy-Con 2 controller's mouse mode functions can be used on the Nintendo Switch 2's home menu, which I think we went over in yesterday's video, alongside compatible games. By tilting the Joy-Con 2 controllers on their sides and attaching the correct wrist straps, users can scroll through and click on various Nintendo Switch 2 menu options to suit their needs. The Joy-Con 2 controllers can also be freely swapped out of mouse mode by rotating them back to their standard position. So that's what we covered yesterday. And then although the Nintendo Switch 2's battery life has been called into question, because I think it's between like 2 to 6 hours depending on like what game you're playing and how much power that game needs. But yeah, the console battery is around 2 to 6 hours, so it's really not that long. But either way, they say users will have a way to extend its lifespan and conserve power while doing so. First revealed in the Nintendo Today mobile app and posted by Twitter user Stealth, the Nintendo Switch 2 system settings menu will include an option to stop charging the system when the battery is at 90% capacity. Nintendo shared a 27-second clip that demonstrated how users can access this feature. The battery conservation option can be assessed by selecting the System Settings app on the home menu as indicated by the cogwheel icon. After scrolling down to the system submenu, users will see a toggle option to stop charging around 90% when the Nintendo Switch 2 is plugged in. This option will work in both handheld and docked modes, so long as the Switch 2 is charged with the included AC adapter. So I definitely recommend turning this on when you get your Nintendo Switch 2. It's just going to prolong your battery life, and it's just going to keep the Nintendo Switch 2's upkeep even better. But either way, obviously it's up to you, but I would definitely recommend it. Don't know why the video is so small, but this is a quick video of them actually showing how to do it. I don't know why it is so small, but as you can see, they just kind of go down to the settings here, and then they go down to the sort of battery kind of stop charging thing. They click it on, and then when it basically hits 90%, it will just stop charging the console, and again, it will just, like I say, prolong the battery life. So you got 88% here, 89, or it's not even going to hit to 90, it's going to hit to 88, and then it's just going to stop charging. So that's what it does basically, and it just conserves your battery, because when you get it to 100% and it just carries on charging, it just ruins your battery life. Like my Nintendo Switch 1, I actually can't take it out of docked because the battery just goes that quick. But anyway, it says after charging from 85% to 88% in approximately 20 minutes, the Switch 2 stopped charging. Although this option will slightly shorten how much battery life the Nintendo Switch 2 will have when playing games like Mario Kart World in handheld mode, because obviously you're on 90% instead of 100%, this will slow down the gradual loss of the system's battery capacity over time. However, Nintendo clarified that even with the power conserving setting is turned on, the console may still charge to 100% to ensure an accurate battery capacity display. With stores making room for the Switch 2 ahead of its June 5th release, Nintendo's next console remains firmly in the spotlight. Given the features that the Nintendo Switch 2 has out of the box, it remains to be seen how many users will activate the power conserving option. Like I say, I definitely recommend it because it just makes your Nintendo Switch 2 life last longer. But anyway, that's a new feature revealed for the Nintendo Switch 2. Moving on, we have a new Generation 10 rumor to go over. This one has been making the rounds online. You may have seen it. A lot of people have asked me about it. I want to give my 2 cents on it. I haven't read it yet. I've obviously just seen Pokemon Tides and Pokemon Gales being the kind of names of the games. Very, very similar to Pokemon Wind and Waves. I still prefer Pokemon Winds and Waves, but Pokemon Tides and Pokemon Gales is pretty good. It was posted on 4chan on the 11th of May. They've obviously done a pretty good job with, if this is fake, which again it very much likely is, they've done a very good job with the kind of artwork of the logos and stuff, because they look pretty good. They look pretty legit, which is nice to see. But like I say, it was posted on 4chan. Take it with a massive grain of salt, but it is some new Generation 10 information apparently. So they say Pokemon Gales and Tides. It was brought to us by the Right Honorable John J. Game Freak III. And they say graphics grunt. They also put a pretty bad word there, which obviously is why I've scribbled it out, etc. Here's what I got. So again, take it with a grain of salt, but this is some Generation 10 rumors that have been popping up recently. There's, like I say, had a lot of traction online. So it says Pokemon Gales and Pokemon Tides are set in the Lados region, or the Lados region. 16 main islands, and then 150 plus smaller islands. The smaller islands are mostly useless, a patch of grass, items, caves, etc. You start in the east on Mimos Island or Mimos Island. I would love the fact that there'd be 150 small islands though. I don't care if they've barely got anything on it. It just allows you to properly traverse the region. And yeah, if you do go to a specific island and there's like a cave in there and then there's some pretty cool Pokemon in there, it's just going to make the exploration even better. So that would be great if there's that many islands. I highly doubt it, but I'd absolutely love that. Says the starters are Ember, which is a fire goat, which is a pretty cool name, Ember. Octopop, which is going to be a water octopus. And then Moshell, which is a grass snail. So pretty good names there, can't lie. The new battle gimmick is called Gigaxis. Each of the 16 main islands has a guardian Pokemon. Some Pokemon can swear their loyalty to a guardian Pokemon, which unlocks a Gigaxis, temporarily changing their appearance and typing. After some use, the temporary change becomes permanent. So, if it becomes permanent, is it like a form or something, or is it just like a stat boost? I don't really know how that would work. There's an item related to Gigaxis called a G token. They remind me of the pins in The World Ends With You. I've not played that. It says the game share a box legendary called Thalorian. Basically, it's a reskinned Miraidon or Koraidon. In Gales, Thalorian has pledged loyalty to the winds, which is the Airaxis form, and you can use him to travel through the skies from island to island. In Tides, to the seas, Merixis form, traveling between islands on the sea. Pick related is all I could get. So there's one legendary, which is obviously something we haven't had before for both games. But there's one legendary in Gales, you use it to fly, and then in Tides use it to swim. Again, I assume that you could still choose between, because it'd be a little bit annoying if you were just locked behind one of those things. But either way, that's kind of the direction that this game is going, according to this person. It says there's no gyms in this game. There's an island challenge similar to Pokemon Sun and Moon, but more battle focused. You earn stamps to gain access to different islands. Some other Pokemon I've seen: an early root griffin, a sea hare, a green snake with 4 eyes, a generic black beetle, a hermit crab with different shells. Seen at least 6 different shells, including a soda can. That would be kind of cool. So it's a little bit like, I don't know, yeah, just a Pokemon with multiple different forms, but obviously, depending on what item you find, the Pokemon obviously looks a little bit different. Don't know if that would change the stats or not, but it'd be pretty cool. It says the first Guardian you see on Mimos Island is a stone iron called Marbleo. There is some heavy Kanto pandering early on. The game's professor is Professor Oak for some reason. No, I don't know why. The first permanent Gigaxis we see is a ground-type Charmander, which you just get for some reason. It's brown, closed eyes, and its tail is split in 2. A ground-type Charmander. I think they've kind of lost me at that. I don't think we'd get a ground-type Charmander. Your rival is a girl from your village named Sophia. Short brown hair, slightly tanned skin, definitely going to be popular. That's it. See you later. So, all in all, it's not a terrible rumor. I can see why it's been making the rounds online and gaining traction and stuff. It's a very interesting bit of information. Obviously, the logos help because it's not just like a random 4chan post. They've actually put a little bit of effort to make it seem a little bit more believable. The ground type Charmander, I definitely kind of is a little bit of a red flag to me. I don't think they're going to give like forms to first stage starters. I just don't think that's going to be the case. If anything, they're just going to give it to the final form like they did in Pokemon Legends Arceus. No gyms, you know, we've had it before. It'd be an interesting way to play this game, especially if there's 16 islands, so you go to all the different islands, etc. The one legendary for both games, also a little bit off-putting. I'm not a fan of that because you don't want one legendary whatever game you get, because if you buy both, you're just still dealing with the same legendary. But yeah, I mean, look, the starter names are pretty cool. I don't believe it for a second. I think it is pretty much fake. But let me know your thoughts on it. Again, it's been making the rounds. A lot of people are kind of giving it a little bit of attention. I wanted to cover it, finally getting around to doing it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Pokemon Tides and Gales. Do you think it is going to be legit, or do you think it is just some random 4chan post? But either way, that's the latest Generation 10 rumor for Pokemon. Finishing things off for today's video as well, we have another potential Nintendo Switch 2 game that is going to be dropping relatively soon. This was a post from VGC saying Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero has been rated for Nintendo Switch 2. So Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero has been rated for Nintendo Switch 2. So while the game hasn't been announced by Nintendo's next platform, this rating points to an imminent announcement and release of the port. The game was rated by Saudi Arabia's General Authority for Media Regulation. The 3D fighting game, developed by Spike Chunsoft and published by Bandai Namco, was released last October. It has been heavily rumored. We've covered it a couple of times. It's been really heavily rumored that it's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. So the game is the first new entry in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series in over 15 years. The game features over 182 characters, featuring heroes from across the Dragon Ball franchise. As of February, the game had sold over 5 million copies, making it the fastest selling game in the franchise's history. The game was nominated for Best Fighting Game at the Game Awards in 2024. The Nintendo Switch 2 is set to release on June the 5th. Earlier this year, it was reported that, following previous reports that Bandai Namco was attempting to reduce its workforce, the company let go of over 100 staff in the prior year. According to Automaton, a filing on Japanese online pension database shows that between April 2024 and February 2025, 117 staff have left the company. This doesn't clarify if those who left the company did so voluntarily or not. In 2024, Bloomberg reported that the company was taking traditionally Japanese approach to reducing staff and sending workers to rooms where they are given nothing to do, putting pressure on them to leave voluntarily, which is kind of sadistic if you think about it. But anyway, that's just another game that's apparently going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's probably going to get announced very soon. At least I don't think it's been announced yet. But anyway, that's the Dragon Ball stuff. Let me know your thoughts on that. If you're a fan of that game, you could be playing it for the Nintendo Switch 2. Let me know your thoughts on this new battery saving consumption feature. Again, they're giving us like info on this console every day. Absolutely love it. Again, there's only like 24 days until the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, so it's pretty much in arm's reach right now. So the fact that we're getting like sprinkles of information every day is also pretty cool. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this feature. Definitely recommend turning it on, but let me know your thoughts on it. Also, let me know your thoughts on the new Pokemon events and announcements and stuff. And as well as that, Pokemon Tides and Gales. Let me know your thoughts on the latest Generation 10 rumor as well for Pokemon. But yeah, that's everything from me. If you enjoyed, drop a like. Let's try and hit 500. Really helps out. Leave a comment, like I say, on anything we covered. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.